So ladies and gentlemen, we are at the largest and the biggest monument of Delhi, the mighty Red Fort or the Lal Killa. This fort served as the residence of the Mughal emperors, starting from the 5th Mughal emperor Shah Jahan. The fort was commissioned by Shah Jahan in 1638 and it took nearly 10 years to complete in 1648. It spread over an area of 255 acres, and we'll presently go inside and see all the things. And this is the place where the Prime Minister of India hoists the flag every Independence Day on the 15th of August and gives a speech which is broadcast across the nation. Once again, welcome to the mighty Red Fort. And the fort is surrounded by these moats, huge moats, which at that point of time when the fort was used by the Mughal emperors, used to get filled with the waters from the Yamuna river, and therefore was able to protect the fort across all sides. Now, of course, the Yamuna river has receded around a kilometer away from the fort, so these moats are empty. But that's how the fort was protected, with these mighty moats surrounding the fort. And we are now at the so-called Lahori Gate. Looks quite high and mighty. It's also the public gate at the Red Fort, and you're greeted with a couple of guns out here as well. And a lot of people are entering this door out here, and the reason why it's called Lahori Gate is because it faces Lahore in Pakistan. So we come this way, which is the Lahori Gate, and actually on the 15th of August the Prime Minister also comes from here, and then he comes over here and then climbs up these stairs and goes all the way up to hoist the national flag and give and deliver his speech. So as you can see that the fort is made up of red walls, and that's because of the red sandstone which was brought all the way from Dholpur, Rajasthan. Let's enter into this Mina Bazar, which is nearly 4 centuries old market now, and used to serve as the marketplace for the royal family, and is famous for its jewelry and silk material. And we are officially in a place called Shah Jahanabad, which was the capital declared by Shah Jahan as he moved the capital from Agra to now what is the old Delhi. Looks fabulous, this corridor, and in this dome-shaped corridor which we're moving through, and it's festooned with these lovely shops which are selling all kinds of jewelries and dress material and intricate purses, and a lot of foreigners throng in over here and do the shopping out here. So more than shopping, it's the vibe of the place which attracts you over here. You are immediately transported to the olden times of the Mughal Empire. So in this Mina Bazar, you can see that there are sort of windows or arenas on the top as well. And during the Mughal times, these top, window arenas were also shops in the Mina Bazar. But when the British conquered the fort in 1857, they converted these shops into the servant quarters, and in general used the fort as a garrison which stationed its troops and was used as a cantonment area by the British. And large parts of the fort were destroyed as well. And right in the middle of the Mina Bazar there is an open area, and that's built so that there could be air and sunlight in the market. So this kind of an open area which is looking nice, and you can see the sky on top. And apparently there are certain shops out here which are still belonging to the generations of the olden times of the Mughal Empire. And those shops still don't pay the electricity bills, neither do they pay any tax because they are the heritage shops. So as we come out of the Mina Bazar, we see this building out here which was constructed by the British and was used as the army barracks. 60% of the fort is still occupied by the Indian Army. Indian Army resides on this side of the fort. As a matter of fact, since 1947 till 2003, the fort was completely a cantonment area with the Indian Army, and it was only in 2003 that the fort was handed over to the Archaeological Survey of India department, and in 2007 Red Fort was also declared as the World Heritage Site by UNESCO. And what we are looking at is called the Naubat Khana, or the drum house. So the musicians used to sit at the rooftop and used to play drums and other instruments whenever the king used to come to the fort to welcome the king. And behind this Naubat Khana, in the distance, you see something called the Divan-i-Aam. And this Divan-i-Aam looks quite majestic with its mighty pillars and the walls. And even after all these years, when you look at this Divan-i-Aam, you feel the strength of the place. And this was the place for the commoners where they used to gather for issues regarding taxes and other disputes. And the king used to preside over these proceedings at this place called the Divan-i-Aam. And you can see that the king used to sit in this marble enclosement on the marble throne. So here is another look at the throne on which the king used to sit and hold the court in this Divan-i-Aam. And his chief minister or the Wazir used to sit on this marble bench. And the people used to, of course, sit in the gardens in front of the Divan-i-Aam. One side for men and the other side for women. And this whole area was also covered with curtains. So therefore you can see the various hooks which are present on top. These were used for the curtains. And the commoners which used to sit in the gardens used to convey the message to the Wazir, and the Wazir then sent the message atop to the king to make the final decision. And these are the windows through which royal ladies could also watch the proceedings without anybody able to watch them. So wonderful systems in place. Looks like a mighty place. You feel the strength of this area. And I'm sure everybody respected this as a just courthouse. So we are looking at the Moti Masjid in front of us, and this was built by Aurangzeb, while the rest of the fort, of course, was built during the times of Shah Jahan. And then we are having this royal bathing setup. It was called the hammam, where the kings and the queens used to bathe with rose water and so forth. And then we have in front of us the Divan-i-Khas. This Divan-i-Khas was, of course, the place where the king used to hold court along with his ministers. And then we have the Khas Mahal, which used to serve as a bedroom of the king. And there's also a window out here through which the king used to look outside. I believe it was also called Khwab Gah. And in the basement of this Khas Mahal, there was a tunnel which went all the way to Agra, just in case if the king had to escape in emergency. And this building out here is called the Rang Mahal, which was a place for entertainment of the kings and along with his wives and mistresses. And there's sprawling gardens, and they're all by the bank of Yamuna. So fantastic real estate in which the Mughal kings beyond Shah Jahan used to live and spend their time. But beyond all these monuments, the tree out here, there's a tree out here which itself looks like a monument and must be a very old tree, going by the kind of stem and the roots it has atop. This tree apparently itself is from the Mughal times. So wonderful scenes out here, a lot of people out here. They are enjoying these relics from the past and taking pride in the culture and the heritage of India. And we are at undoubtedly the most wonderful and exquisite area of the Red Fort, made up of completely marble stone and with these intricate carvings on the walls and the pillars. And ladies and gentlemen, this is called the Divan-i-Khas, which was a royal courtroom where the king used to hold meetings with his ministers and used to sit in this area atop the famous peacock throne, which was later on stolen by Nadir Shah when he plundered Delhi in 1739. The peacock throne itself, and here this one, was made of 1130 kgs of gold, no less, and 50 types of diamonds and other ornaments. And even at that time, it was priced in crores. Imagine what would the price be now. The peacock throne, of course, is now in Iran. Nadir Shah also carried with him the Kohinoor diamond, which is sitting nicely in London at the moment. And the Indian government has made efforts to bring it back. But all efforts for restitution have been refused by the British government. The walls of this Divan-i-Khas were made and carved with gold. And the walls where you see these flowers were studded with diamonds, gold and silver. All this was plundered and looted by Nadir Shah and whatever was remaining later on by the British. But they couldn't take away the heritage of this place, the exquisiteness of this place, the history of this place, a place called the Divan-i-Khas. And a closer look at the hammam where the kings used to bathe, and hot and cold water was of course available throughout the year. The kings used to bathe in this enclosure and then used to dress up over here and then could make the royal march towards this Divan-i-Khas. Wonderful life, lived it up to the hilt, while it lasted. We all know how it ended though. So this is a closer look at the Moti Masjid, which was built by Aurangzeb, who succeeded Shah Jahan. Aurangzeb used to come over here and pray. Nowadays, of course, it is an inactive mosque and it's only a relic. Shah Jahan himself used to go to Jama Masjid, which is very nearby, a kilometer away from the Red Fort, and he used to offer his prayers regularly over there. And have a wonderful look at this beautiful scene from the Red Fort, which starts from a marble white pavilion, and in the center we have this red sandstone enclosure, and on the other side we again have another white marble pavilion. And this white marble pavilion on this side was called Sawan, and on the other side this second white marble pavilion was called Bhadon. So Sawan and Bhadon. And these two white pavilions were used by the ladies and the kings to sit down and enjoy the rains while sitting on their swings. And the whole place was surrounded by these beautiful gardens called Hayat-e-Bahisht, and which means the garden of paradise. Between these two white marble enclosures, we also find a small enclosure which is made up of red sandstone, and this is called the Zafar Mahal and was constructed by the last Mughal emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar II. Bahadur Shah Zafar II, of course, was later on captured by the British in the rebellion of 1857 and later on sent to Rangoon as an exile, and that's the place where he died. But Bahadur Shah Zafar left behind him this wonderful Zafar Mahal. And of course, it's overlooked on the two sides by Sawan and by Bhadon. So right beside the Sawan and Bhadon is something called a Kranti Mandir. And right over there, one mandir or temple was dedicated to the Indian National Army of Subhash Chandra Bose. The second out here was dedicated to the Jallianwala Bagh martyrs, and this one out here was dedicated to all those people who laid down their lives in the rebellion of 1857. It's worth recalling that there were the famous Red Fort trials which took place, conducted by the British against the Indian National Army of Subhash Chandra Bose. And in fact, Pandit Nehru was one of the defense lawyers in those cases, which were famous as the Red Fort trials, which took place between 1945 and 1947. So overall, a wonderful trip to the Red Fort, the largest monument of Delhi, which is so plentiful of rich history and heritage. It's extraordinary that I've been living in the NCR for more than 28 years now, and I'd never visited the Red Fort. But now I have, and along with that, I've been now to the place where the Mughal emperors and the queens used to roam around and rub shoulders with each other. The place where the British troops were stationed. The place, the Red Fort, which was made of mighty walls and the moats, which were meant to defend this fort. But ironically, never a fight took place inside the Red Fort. And the British took this fort so easily in 1857. But here we are, living in the 21st century and reminding ourselves of the heritage and the history, as well as the sacrifices which took place so that we could breathe and live easy in these modern times. We bid adieu to the glorious Red Fort. And we are braving our way through the madness in the streets of Old Delhi near Jama Masjid, trying to reach a place called Jawahar for a meal. And look at the monumental Jama Masjid at Old Delhi in Chandni Chowk area. We've come over here not to pay tribute or offer prayers, but to have a meal at a famous restaurant out here, which is located over here, and it's called the Jawahar. It should be somewhere over here down the line. Look at the madness of this street, which is lined with hotels on both the sides and restaurants. And we are trying to reach, and we have indeed reached the Jawahar. So let's go inside. So finally the meal is here. We have this chicken biryani, and then we have these wonderful mutton kebabs. We've also ordered a nihari, which is known for its delicate texture of meat. And we have this wonderful khamiri roti. It looks huge. And look at this chicken changezi. I think this is absolutely looking delicious. It's gonna be a feast out here at the Jawahar restaurant at Chandni Chowk near Jama Masjid, Old Delhi. And after eating all the food at Jawahar, I really need a wheelchair to take me out of here and take me back to Gurgaon. It was a wonderful nihari, wonderful chicken changezi, 2 big khamiri rotis, a lot of sweating while eating, but it was worth it.